The next morning, Malachi woke to sunlight pushing through the thin curtains, sharp and unwelcome. Birds chirped outside his window, too cheerful for the hour. He rolled over, groaning when he saw the clock. 9 a.m. early for him, much too early. The pills from last night had dragged him down, and now his head felt stuffed with cotton. His stomach growled, but what he really needed was coffee, real coffee. Dragging himself downstairs, he found Mrs. Peterson already in the kitchen, moving briskly between cupboards and counters. She greeted him with a practiced warmth. "Morning, Malachi." "Coffee?" His spirits lifted for a heartbeat, but as soon as the mug touched his lips, he grimaced. "Decaf." "We only keep decaf here," she said gently, as if explaining a rule to a child. "Caffeine can make mornings harder." Malachi set the mug down harder than he meant to. This place was already tying his hands. He was still scowling when the others appeared. Theo entered first, hair flattened on one side, wearing pajama pants with little pixel hearts. Raphael bounced in right behind him, already mid-story about a dream he'd had involving Nicolas Cage and a rocket ship. Connor trailed in last, expression sour, arms crossed tight. Mrs. Peterson set down a plate of toast. "Eat, boys." "We've got an outing today. Consumer Mart." Malachi froze with the toast halfway to his mouth. Grocery shopping? With strangers? Fantastic. Theo tried to make conversation at the table. "There's a new Kibby game coming out this summer," he said, eyes brightening. "It's supposed to have a co-op mode." Connor cut him off with a snort. "Kibby? That's still a baby game. Try something real like Car Thief." Theo's smile faltered, his shoulders curling inward. Malachi chewed his toast silently, heat rising in his chest. He wanted to snap back, but not yet, not with Mrs. Peterson sitting right there. The Petersons' minibus rattled and groaned as it carried them across town. Raphael talked the entire ride. Connor rolled his eyes at every word, and Theo sat quietly by the window, fingers tapping a rhythm on his knees. Malachi stared at the blur of houses passing by, already exhausted before they'd even arrived. Inside Consumer Mart, the fluorescent lights buzzed, the aisles stretching endlessly under the hum. Mrs. Peterson handed out lists like homework assignments. "All right, boys? You'll work together. Malachi, you've shopped before, yes? You can guide them." He didn't want to guide anyone, but he took the list anyway, muttering, "Fine." They split down the aisles. Raphael filled the cart with unnecessary items until Malachi pulled half of them back out. Theo drifted toward the electronics section, his face lighting up at the sight of the Kibby display. Connor followed, smirking. "Seriously? This again?" Theo's hand hovered over the game case. "I just wanted to look." Connor sneered. "Baby game. You gonna cry if someone beats your score?" Theo flinched, his hand dropping. Malachi's patience snapped. "Cut it out," he said sharply, stepping closer. His voice was louder than he intended, echoing down the aisle. "Let him like what he likes." "Nobody asked you." Connor blinked, thrown off, then muttered, "I was just joking." He turned away, suddenly interested in the candy rack. Theo didn't say thank you, but when they regrouped by the registers, he stood a little closer to Malachi than before. Dinner that night was cowboy casserole, meat, cheese, cans, and more cans. Mrs. Peterson handed Malachi the recipe and encouraged him to lead. He cooked without comment, following the instructions exactly. It smelled heavy, rich, the kind of food that clung to your ribs and your arteries. At the table, Raphael ate with gusto, praising the casserole like it was fine dining. Theo quietly shoveled food onto his plate, while Connor smirked across the table. "So, Theo," Connor drawled, "still dreaming about Kibby?" Theo's fork froze mid-air. His cheeks flushed, but he said nothing. Malachi's jaw clenched. He stared down at his plate, then snapped his head up. "Connor, shut up." The words cut through the room like a slammed door. Silence fell. Mrs. Peterson's smile disappeared. "Malachi," she said firmly, "that's not how we talk to each other. Go to your room. We'll discuss this later." He pushed back his chair, the scrape of wood against tile louder than it should have been, and stalked upstairs without another word. In his room, Malachi flopped onto the bed and stared at the ceiling, fury buzzing through his veins. This was supposed to be a fresh start. Instead, it felt like prison with casserole. A knock at the door. Mrs. Peterson entered quietly, holding his nightly meds in a paper cup. "I know this is hard," she said softly, "but patience matters here. We all have to learn it." He swallowed the pills, not looking at her. She gave him a small smile before leaving, her footsteps fading down the hall. Alone again, Malachi rolled onto his side. Downstairs he could hear Raphael's laughter, Theo's quiet responses, Connor's voice still sharp. He squeezed his eyes shut, willing it all away. But the image of Theo lingered, the way his face had fallen when Connor teased him, the silence that followed. Malachi hated that it bothered him, hated that he cared. He pulled the blanket up to his chin and whispered to himself, "Tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow will be better."